This is my junk journal studio. And this morning I was inspired to show you how far I've gotten on my nature journals I'm making. I've gotten all the basic papers done. It's going to be similar to these. This is my personal nature journal. And there was a lot of new techniques in that. And then this journal is the new tree journal that I do about my grandmother tree. And I liked a lot of the new techniques I did in there. So I'm using these as reference of what I wanted to do. And then I also have these altered books that I have a huge amount of drawings in that I've been doing. And then the altered part is you just keep the pages in the book and make a bunch of pockets. And then I've added all my drawings to these in categories. Ravens is the best, so this book has all just ravens basically. And then I have these giant tags that I think I'll be selling them for $25 or maybe a little bit more. They're kind of a large tag. Kind of a standalone piece of art. But anyway, I have several of these. This one has insects and flowers and dragonflies. So there's different sections. And this one is full of those. I just added them to it. But a lot of watercolor drawings with sewing stitches around the edges. And then I got tired of these books being gator mouth, wide at one end and skinny at the other. And so I made this book, and it is signatures torn out of another book, but then I added it to my own blue jean cover, which is a pair of old blue jeans that I wore cross country. And the pockets then are sewn in signatures with some space in between, so it helps to keep it from being a gator mouth. And I haven't really filled a whole lot in here. A lot of pictures of the grandmother tree. So a lot of these drawings will go in these new journals I'm making. And this one is local haunts, the trails and river pictures. I gotta get up off the floor. Oh my God. And so these new journals, let me put my phone up here and lock in the picture. Okay, so a lot of this new journals, I will be adding features. I have to have some sticks in it, like this. And it's just sewn and wired onto the page, and it's a stick from the 400 to 500-year-old tree in my yard. And I'll probably add some edgings to some of the pages. Maybe a little bit of rice paper design in. This is my journal that I'm keeping record of the tree right now. And that was sitting on the porch one day, drawing the tree from the porch. So it is starting to fill up with different kinds of pictures. But let me show you the pictures I'm working on now. And these are just the pages to the journal. The types of paper that I'll be using. Let me see if I can scan out a little bit more. Nope, don't need to. Anyway, these are the pages I've done. So this is an acorn like a rough sketch, field sketch of acorns. So there's 6 of them. Each one of these is going to be 6 books. So there's 6 drawings. And each one of these stacks is the same way. So these are all the dragonflies that I did. They'll be in one of the books. Eco-dyed papers. These are the leaves from the tree. These aren't particularly my favorites, but that's what I have left from the dyeing process that I did last year. I'm in the process of, I need to do some more paper, so that'll be some workshops this summer with some people that want to do it. This is a redbud tree, the little sweet little heart-shaped leaves. These are eco-dye. This is from the fig tree. And these are pressed and then washed with a vinegar. I just run it through a, it's the same thing, run it through a pasta press. So it's a mirror image. Put the leaves in here and then run it through the pasta press. And then I think these were natural because the redness. I might have brushed these. I need to write down more of the process, but it's always an experiment. This was some paper from Japan that my son brought to me, and I just did a simple stamp on the edges of them. They're really cool feeling papers. Some oxide spray, and I wanted these to have a moon feature on them. And this on the other side. These, yeah. Yep, they all have moons. This was a crinkled page, coffee dyed, and then wadded it up, and then sprayed it again so the highlights would hit on the top of the wrinkles. And then went back through and put a copper kettle metallic wax that I put on it. These are some oxide sprays and coffee. And these are all lined sheets, and it was interesting how the lines bled, so they don't use permanent ink on their papers. So all these are just spray oxide and coffee. And these were coffee dyed with stencils. It's a little bit longer process to put them in a bath and then have to sun dry all these. Some people put them in the ovens or press them to dry them. I'm like, I just leave them in the sun for like an hour and they're done. So I don't get that, but I guess they live in apartments or something. This is scrap paper. I mean, it's a nice rice paper, but it is a scrap that was under the work, so it'll get a little bit of spray, a little bit of, like this was a stencil that I had sprayed on, and then I sprayed it with water and just put it on here. So it's just one color, but this oxide spray, when it oxidizes, gives some different colors. And these are coffee dye papers that I stenciled the redwood trees on. And these are some more oxide spray, and I used some of this iridescence shimmer spray. And it really gives it a lot of shine. And then these are the butterflies I actually did and then cleaned it off on those other sheets. So these were stencils laid down and then sprayed with the oxide spray. And then these are more coffee dyed papers with stencils. And I still have to do maps, and I'll probably do some gel printing over these, and music sheets that I will do gel printing. I think I'll do gel printing on all 3 of these music pages, and a giant medical dictionary that a friend gave me. And then some of these pages, of course, they'll be smaller. I'll cut this into 3 lengths, and this is from a giant bank ledger, Virginia Savings Bank from 1882. And some of the pages have writings on them. Here's one. And the script is absolutely beautiful. So one lucky person will have this in their journal. I feel like it's lucky because it's such a cool vintage thing. And then I have these pages. And each one of these, there's 6 of them. These I'm adding tea bags to that I've stamped and altered, and then I glue them on the page. So I have a couple more of these to finish. And then this again was some experimenting, and it's a spray oxide, and then I went back in with my ink pad and brush and the stencil and put these ravens on here. And I have a couple of them to finish. This is the stencil. And then these are very faint, but it is, whoops, it's a metallic stamp, and on the page I used a stamp that is script, and I wanted that to be faint, you know, kind of seen but not seen. And then I did some metallic spray. This one, I laid one of these letters down when I sprayed because I wanted to spray these letters. So this was scrap paper, but then I turned it into a piece of artwork by adding the stamp and the script stamp. So these are stamped pages, and these, each one of these, there's 6 pages to each one. I've got, so this is folded. See, the backs are even sprayed. They're folded, so that will equal 20 pages. With each signature will have 5 sheets, 5 different sheets, each signature. So with all these papers, I have 5 signatures, and that will be 100 pages. And then each one of these signatures will be sewn in the binding, which is a whole nother creation in itself. And there'll be some extra pages, and then some of these will be altered to make pockets with them, like these longer sheets, because when I fold them 8 by, what is it, 6 by 8, these are legal pads, so there's part left over, and I will make that into a pocket. And then some of those cards from the altered books that I showed you at the beginning will be added to these journals, along with the, what do you call it, edgings and bead dangles. When I add the sticks, there'll be assorted types of dangles and beads added. These are little note keepers with the Lexington brick on the back. And this is the mamagami process. I love doing this. Though, yeah, I'll probably add a couple pages of, or at least 1 page of mamagami in each one of these books. And then these are hand-dyed papers. That's a fern, the legal ledger, the bank ledger, the chickapin oak. So these just have writing pages inside of them. So that's what I've been working on the past 3 weeks. And I'm anxious to get these done, to take them into a gallery in town. Have a nice day.